Detroit, Rock City. The local economy ready to roar as the football team gets back to business. What big projects are on the horizon? Inside the investigations, we dive deeper into some of Local 4's recent stories of those missing in Michigan. That and a Lions-themed 4 things. The discussion starts now on a September 7th edition of Flashpoint. Happy Sunday, everybody. I'm Jason Colthorpe. Happy NFL Sunday, right? Yeah, our Detroit Lions get back to action today. And while it'll be Green Bay's local economy really booming, Detroit will also get a boost, even with the team on the road. In fact, the resurgence of the Lions has coincided with the ascending downtown and midtown scenes. The Lions aren't just good for business either. They're good for the skyline. And it got me wondering a few things. Is the Lions' success tied to the city's bottom line? And what other big projects are on the horizon now? Well, who better to talk about it with than a couple of CEOs, Eric Larson of the Downtown Detroit Partnership and Claude Molinari of Visit Detroit. I caught up with them the other day at the very spot of one of Detroit's most recent successes, the NFL Draft. Claude, Eric, good morning. Thanks for joining me.
Good morning. Great to be here.
Felt very appropriate to do this here at Campus Martius, site of one of Detroit's most recent successes. Let me just jump off since it's game day, technically here, Lions. Claude, let me start with you. When the Lions are back in business, what does it do for Detroit?
Well, it's enormous for our hotels, our restaurants, attractions around the city. Has a huge benefit for everybody that comes here. And certainly when the Lions play primetime, and again, as successful as they've been, that's even a greater jump. I mean, we see millions of dollars of economic impact whenever the Lions have a home game, and then a primetime game, even greater.
I would think also the better they get, the more that kind of goes like that, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the Lions have been remarkable, even in their worst seasons, in terms of selling out, and the fan base is absolutely incredible. But I think the other thing that's really interesting, especially for us at the Downtown Detroit Partnership, is the national and sort of global recognition that the Lions bring to the city, to the region. It's completely changing, not only perceptions about the Lions, but also perceptions about the city, about the way that the city embraces and entertains. And all of that is incredibly important because the spinoff, beyond Lions games, is people coming back and coming back. I mean, most people that make a decision to come back to a place have visited it once. So we're excited to make sure that they're all coming back.
I'm glad you brought it up too, because we saw the NFL Draft, huge success. People got to see Detroit on the main stage, but also, like you say, on a global stage. The Grand Prix on TV looked incredible, and that's got to drive tourism at the very least.
Oh, absolutely. And the Grand Prix is really interesting because it's an annual event, so it builds every year upon itself from prior years. And the other thing is, because of the driver lineup, most of which is international, the international audience that follows the Grand Prix is significant. And so, again, Detroit is being shown to the world in a way that other events don't really allow it to be seen.
And Claude, do you do anything where it's almost sometimes these things are so successful? Obviously, once you get behind the scenes, you're working to make these as good as they can be. But in other times, like with the Lions, sometimes you just get out of the way and let that machine run.
100%. I mean, we're actually sponsoring a European football club, like the New York Yankees of Europe. Italian football is a team called Juventus. We're their front of shirt sponsor, and it's a huge benefit to us. We saw a 3,000% increase in website traffic from Europe once that hit. But every game, it says Detroit on the front of the Lions shirt, and that's a huge benefit to us. So someone's like, why would you invest in a team overseas? But it's to introduce a new audience who maybe wouldn't consider Detroit otherwise. But again, every time we do a major event, whenever there's, in the success of the sports teams, that drives interest to the city, to the destination, and everybody benefits. Like a rising tide rises all boats.
And that's interesting now that we have DCFC about to build a new stadium. I would think that also opens up a lot of doors.
100%. And again, that's the type of thing because we technically right now do not have a venue that can host, international football because we don't have natural grass. This DCFC football club will have that, and that will drive international teams to want to come here and play them.
think the other thing that's really interesting about this sponsorship, and I give Visit and Claude and the team all credit because of the things that they're bringing, but it's also the awareness. I mean, there's a connection to the auto industry, obviously through the European soccer football, that is also very important to continue to double down on not only our manufacturing DNA, but the innovation that's coming out of the mobility sector. So if we're going to be relevant, we need to be relevant, obviously through sports, but also through the industries that ultimately are actually investing in Detroit.
It's like you're reading my rundown. You know where my head's going.
We make a good team.
As we sit here, I can't help but look over here. You see what's going to be COSM coming up right here, and that is very exciting. What's going there? But what other things are on the way that you find very exciting? Can't wait for people to see?
Well, I mean, we just talked about Detroit FC and the new soccer stadium. Obviously, lots of conversation about the Michigan Central and new labs and what's happening there and the continued expansion. I mean, talking about passenger rail coming back to that grand old facility as it transforms into something that is really futuristic. The Hudson's Detroit, again, coming online. The office is already open. The venue, the entertainment venue and conference venue is spectacular. So lots of different things, but COSM, when you talk about COSM, that is really unique. It is expanding around the globe, and we're one of the first to actually have it here in our city. And the ability to watch sports in an actual augmented reality venue is absolutely remarkable. I mean, people talk about the sphere. This is going to be every bit of the sphere, but inside.
Somebody tried to explain it to me and they said the sphere, and I went, okay, wait a minute. Now, what do you mean the sphere? So, and to have it right here in this little area just feels like, I guess overall the city, you kind of look like over the last 10 years, where it was, and it's going like this. It's got to be part of a challenge. I don't want to say pressure, but you don't want to derail any of that.
No, we have to keep it going. And our Achilles heel as far as trying to drive business here from an event standpoint is lack of hotel rooms downtown. We're building a 600-room JW Marriott attached to the convention center. We're going to be announcing in the near future another hotel that we're going to be building, and we've got other developers that we're working with. So again, that's something that is going to continue to drive the ability for us to host future events as long as we build up this infrastructure, because it can't slow down. It's got to continue. We're on the rise right now, and people are talking about us. The perception of Detroit and Southeast Michigan has changed, but we have to really capitalize on it and keep it going.
Well, this is Flashpoint, so I'd have to bring in politics at some point. The X factor in what you just described is we're about to have a new mayor, so a different partner. How does that change what each of you do?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of what we've been talking about, both with our philanthropic and our corporate partners, is that public sector leadership and how we can continue to maintain the momentum, momentum that has been so critical over the last 12 years under the current mayor's administration. And quite honestly, we're excited about it because not only do we have a lot of things already in place that have created this great springboard for continued momentum, but it also, with the new administration, is going to open up new opportunities, things that, Duggan either didn't quite get finished that we can now help the new administration get over the finish line, or new things that actually are unique. A lot of the stuff that has happened in the core of the city, we're sitting in this beautiful park, is being replicated throughout the city. There's tremendous opportunity to take what we're learning and the lessons that have been actually implemented and move those throughout the city.
And each candidate has kind of hinted at what you're talking about. They want to. Their message, at least, has been in parts to work harder in the neighborhoods, and because some Detroiters say it's been too much focus downtown, but you can probably do both at the same time, can't you?
I think you have to, and I want to expand upon what Eric was saying. Is for the NFL draft and certainly for the upcoming Final Four, the DDP, the City of Detroit, and Visit Detroit, and the Detroit Sports Commission, we've been like one unit. And that has really been our secret sauce. And we want to continue that. Whoever is the next mayor and whatever the next administration is, I think that'll be critical that we maintain that continuity and that partnership, because that really sets us aside from other destinations when we're competing for these events.
And you can do both. I think it's really important, and the new administration will recognize this. 40% of the general fund of the city is funded through the tax base of the greater downtown. So the downtown is critical to the overall success of the city, but that isn't at the exclusivity of the neighborhoods. And so there is, downtown is a neighborhood. there are a lot of other neighborhoods that need the same kind of opportunity. And we think we can not only help support that, but we'll need to continue to help support that for the city to grow. Our population is growing. The value in housing is growing. We're the fastest growing housing market in the country. I mean, you don't even think about that. Many other cities around the country are starting to falter because of housing prices and mortgage rates. We are still affordable. So there's a tremendous amount to build on. And I think the next administration is going to double down on that.
Real quickly, I'll ask you one simple question, and this is my chance to crow about the Ralph C. Wilson Riverfront Park that's about to be here. Do you have a favorite project or something you're waiting for, or something that's already come to fruition that you love the most?
Wow, that's like asking me who's my favorite child. I'm really excited about the Ralph Wilson Park that's going to open, and that we're finally going to really have from the Ambassador Bridge all the way to Belle Isle completely open. I was running on the Riverwalk this morning, and we got to like where the cake is, where the old Joe Louis Arena site was like, we got to stop. In a couple of weeks, that'll be open for all of us. So we're excited about that.
Yeah, I would, again, give Riverfront Conservancy and the leadership over there all the credit. Like this park that we're sitting in, 20 years of real demonstration of leadership. I think for me, the most intriguing projects are, one, the project that we've been working on, I-375, and the ability to really reconnect community.
And make sure you get it right.
And make sure you
Which
get it
is
right.
what that wants to do.
And then the other one, and again, like Claude, I don't want to pick favorite children, but the other one is the Renaissance Center. I think the Renaissance Center, now that the riverfront has really been reclaimed, has an opportunity to finish that. And it needs to be thoughtful. It needs to be done in a way that really opens up and takes down the barrier. But I am really intrigued to see what happens at the southern end of 375 and how we can really bring that city together. Yeah.
Great thoughts, great discussion, guys. Thanks so much, Eric Larson, Downtown Detroit Partnership. Claude Molinari from Visit Detroit. Always appreciate it. Great to be with you.
So much.
More Flashpoint right after this. If you've been watching Local 4 lately, and I trust you have, you've noticed several investigations, many involving people missing in Michigan or other parts of investigations. Erica Erickson's been leading the charge on a lot of these, trying to put these back in the spotlight in some cases. Maybe they've gone cold. And I thought it'd be interesting to just talk about them, keep them in the spotlight, just kind of break them down, everything you've been working on, because it's kind of the joke in the newsroom. Every time I go by you, you're carrying a whole bunch of files. And it's like, Erica, how's it going? You got a match or something?
Do they make these alligator clips to make them any bigger?
Yeah. I wondered where those all were going, and they're all at your desk.
Yes. So
So where do you want to start?
let's start with these missing in Michigan segments that we've been doing, because
I do find those the most interesting, just because, like you talk to family members and you just want the closure for them.
yeah, I think it's called ambiguous loss, what people, I guess, I don't know if that's the exact term, but it's just this feeling, and I can't even imagine how they feel. Just a family member, think of a sibling or your mom or your friend. They just vanish one day.
You don't know what
You have
happened.
no answers. They're just gone. And we went to this Missing in Michigan event, and I interviewed a few families, and I've been in touch with them. Some of these cases go back 20 years, Jason.
Yeah.
Some of them a few years, but this is Alicia Digna right here, and she went missing in 2008. Take a good look there. And her family, she had severe medical issues, and this family said that she just vanished one day.
Yeah.
And out of Romulus, she's been missing. She has all these family members that she's never met.
When you run these, by the way, what kind of feedback do you get? I know sometimes it takes a minute, which is why we wanted to do this. It takes a couple of times to put it out there. Maybe it gets a little more ground on social, but, and this is just the first one we've mentioned, but what kind of feedback have you gotten on there?
Well, we did do a story with, there was a woman named Sharon Murray, Sharon Murray. Her brother went missing, Randall Childs, and I believe that did get in Detroit back in 2011. Believe it or not, he and his girlfriend went missing. 2 people missing.
Interesting.
Isn't that, that's bizarre.
Scary and bizarre.
And scary, yeah. So they both went missing in 2011, and some tips did come in, but we're kind of
Are these all considered cold cases, by the way, from the police?
Yeah, they're considered
though I know
cold cases. It's been a while. I mean, we've got a few more that we're working on. I have one really cold case I'm working on from 40 years ago.
Really? Can you talk about it?
Yeah, Cindy Louise Moore. This is just part of the file right here that we pulled up, and she went missing
40 years ago. So
40 years ago.
85? Oh, math. Yes,
85. Yeah, 85. So the sad thing is, you know, if you think back of 85, we don't have the technology.
Yeah.
They didn't have the technology that we have now. So that's the other thing that with some of these cases that we're kind of hoping maybe someone recognizes a photo from back then.
What are some of the details on this one from 85?
So she was supposed to pick up her son she was getting a divorce. She was supposed to pick up her son from her husband, and she never showed up. Then her car was found at a hotel in Madison Heights, and I drive by this area, and it was bugging me. So I contacted the Oakland County Sheriff's Office, and I said, can you just give me all the original reports? Let me take a look at this. So I looked at some of the original interviews. There are some things that don't really add up if you kind of look at some of this stuff. And I know the estranged husband was looked at. Originally, they did do some digging in a certain area where a pool was filled. And the other thing with these missings is, do they assume that they're dead?
Right, because police have to try and theorize what has happened here.
Yeah, and in some families that's easier. But again, Sharon Murray, she buys birthday gifts and Christmas gifts for her brother every year. And she said she just wants to know that her brother is among the living. And I said, is that something you ever even thought that you'd ask yourself? And she said, no. She goes to morgues out of state I look at bodies to see if it's her brother. It's heartbreaking for these people.
And that one, it's kind of eerily reminiscent of something else you worked on, which is the Buster Robbins case, which could be cases, which has been in the news, and that's still within the court system too. When you mentioned the facts of it, dropped her son off at school, which is those are the facts of the one he's on trial for now.
Right, he's going to trial, and this one we sort of stumbled upon because we were working on another case, and we were like, wait a second, this case is from 1989, and this man's being arraigned. So we're working and we're looking, and then we started digging into it, and the woman that he's accused of raping and murdering and kidnapping, her name is Beverly Wyville, and yeah, police say just dropped her son off at school. She went to get some sleep in her car in Griffin Park in Canton, and next thing they know, her body is found. She's found in Ypsilanti area, Superior Township, and her car door was left open. All of her belongings were in there, and it just sort of lines up. Livingston County Police say that they're looking at Buster Robbins as a person of interest in the 1990 disappearance of Paige Ronkowski, because we've covered a lot of, just because of some of the similar circumstances.
And that one,
obviously, his defense attorney says, no, he's not connected to that case. You guys are reaching. They think they're reaching in this case just because maybe he had consensual sex with Beverly Wyville. The DNA was found. That's how, by the way, Buster Robbins was connected to this case with Beverly Wyville, was genealogy testing.
I like how you take
There's a lot there. There's a lot there. Behind
the curtain a little bit when it comes to kind of, you're almost being your own detective when you ask police about something, but it's not you take the answer, but let me get the original police reports. I really appreciate how that went. In your career, by the way, are there any, because 15 to 20 years you've been doing this now, are there any cases in your mind that stand out to you still, like investigative type stories?
There are. I did work with the U.S. Marshals a lot, and there were a couple of fugitives that were caught after we brought those stories back to light.
Yeah.
And one I can think of is Corey Gaston. I interviewed this girl. It was just a terrible story. This girl who was raped in Detroit, and he had been on the run for decades.
Yeah.
And after we talked to her, again, my heart goes out to her. She was so brave. He was found in Mexico. U.S. Marshals do so well. And then there was another case, James Meese, serial sex offender found.
When you can get that closure It's not just gratifying as a journalist, but also for the family members.
Yeah.
Thanks, Erica, for updating us on these, and good luck.
More to come.
Yes, we're waiting to hear more about that.
Thanks, Jason.
You bet. More Flashpoint coming up after this. All right, before we get out of here this morning, a little 4 things to consider, maybe 4x4 things. You'll understand in a second. And this is about the Lions season, which is kicking off in about 6 hours here in Green Bay. The experts are doubting the Lions this season for 4 reasons. Number 1, they lost both coordinators, including Ben Johnson, who is considered the offensive guru behind the high-powered offense. Number 2, they have a very tough schedule, especially away from home. Their road schedule is actually considered the toughest in the Super Bowl era for any team. Number 3, center Frank Ragnow retired. And 4, their arch rival, the Packers, that division rival, well, they landed one of the best defenders in the league in Micah Parsons when he was traded by the Cowboys, and that genius wheeler and dealer, Jerry Jones. Now, 4 reasons why the experts are wrong about that reasoning. 1, Ben Johnson was a great play caller, yes, but don't forget he ran Dan Campbell's offense and took over the play calling from, hang on here, oh yeah, Dan Campbell. Also, new offensive coordinator John Morton was in high demand this offseason, getting calls for jobs from all sorts of people, including, that's right, Ben Johnson. Number 2, the schedule. Yes, it is very tough, but check this stat out. The Lions have a sizable rest advantage on the rest of the league, plus 13 days. Now, what that means is throughout the entire season, the Lions have 13 extra days to prepare for games than the opponents do. Most of that coming from 5 games against teams who are coming off Monday night games, giving the Lions 1 extra day to prepare for that. For comparison, by the way, the Packers have a -2 rest advantage. So there you go. 3, yes, Frank Ragnow's retirement hurts a lot. He was the #1 rated run blocking center over the last 3 years. But the Lions have expected his early retirement and feel they have prepared as best they can through the draft. And 4, yes, the Packers added Micah Parsons, and they did get better on defense. But just a couple observations about that. Packers now, they gave up the Pro Bowl run stopper Kenny Clark in that deal. And the Lions, well, they like to run the ball. And I'm thinking back to the last few times we played Dallas. Anybody else remember Parsons wreaking havoc on Jared Goff in the offense? Yeah, me neither. So let's go. It is football Sunday. Let's go, Lions. Feel free to share your thoughts with me on this. IG, the Book of Face, email, whatever you want. The email is flashpoint@clickondetroit.com. I'm Jason Colthorpe. We'll see you later. Let's go, Lions.